All right, let's just get this part of the video out the way. If y'all want, and this is the only funny part of the video, arguably. If y'all are wondering why I'm using the Warriors and the Pistons for this particular vid, originally I was going to do this or use these two teams to like talk about the NBA has a face of the league issue. I don't know why I'm using these two teams, but it's not y'all business. But you know what? Screw it. It's just for the video, man. Just for the vibes. But anyways, funny stuff out of the way. We are going to be talking about a serious issue that went on the last couple of days. Actually, no, not the last couple of days. Yesterday, there was a couple of things that happened. Right, Shannon Sharpe gets fired from ESPN. I'm mainly going to talk about that. I'm not going to talk too much about Gilbert Arenas, even though I'll talk a little bit about it. But I'm going to really tie it into just really what I really want to talk about here. So let's get right into it. So if y'all didn't know, which I'm pretty sure most of you guys do know, but whatever. Shannon Sharpe has been fired from ESPN, right? Shannon has had a lot of weird stuff happening for the last. I want to date back to last year, right? Obviously, we know about the whole situation with IG Live, where he wasn't filming himself doing it, but you could hear like the audio. The audio is clearly there, and the memes, were being made about dude all over the place. You know what I'm saying? Like, obviously, it was funny, and I definitely laughed at some of those memes, but in the back of my mind, I was thinking that this is not good for Shannon Sharpe. And then as soon as the playoffs started, there was a lot of buzz going on about I'm not going to say the word, but y'all know what I'm going to be talking about, the R word. There's like plenty of R words I shouldn't use, but I'm going to say the word wrapped. So Shannon Sharpe had a rap case against him by this one OnlyFans model, right? I'm going to read this article from Realtor.com. I'll link the article in the description below. I'm going to do that with my previous video because I didn't do that for some reason. But this anonymous woman, she filed under the name Jane Doe, launched a $50 million lawsuit against Shannon in April over claims that he rapped her multiple times during their rocky consensual relationship, which lasted for 2 years. When news of the lawsuit broke, Shannon fiercely denied the allegations, branding the case a shakedown attempt by the plaintiff, who hails from Nevada. Still, he took a leave of absence from ESPN while the matter was handled, only for the network to decide not to bring him back as an on-air host of the wake of the controversy. And then I'm reading another variation of this topic on USA Today. Their article states the woman accused Shannon of essaying her twice in both October 2024 and January of this year after previously engaging in the intentional infliction of emotional distress. She said Shannon became violent over the course of their relationship and recording their encounters without her consent. And Shannon never faced any criminal charges for that matter. So you have those things, right? And then there's finally a $50 million lawsuit settlement. And now there is another article, and I'm reading this from the U.S. Sun. Shout out to Dreamers Pro. And before I get into this article, there was a lot of controversial stuff that Shannon has done, and a lot of people were speculating. Well, no, not a lot of people were speculating, but there were buzzings of when he had a lot of allegations against him when he was working with Skip at FS1's Undisputed, and then what he did at his brief stint with CBS, right? So you have those allegations going on amidst, what we've been hearing for the last 3 months, if anything, you know what I'm saying? And then shout out Dreamers Pro for going live about this particular case with Shannon multiple times, where he actually showed audio of Shannon bragging on his Nightcap podcast about having those encounters with OnlyFans models, about how, oh yeah, I'm having a good time, ha ha ha, and this, and this. And then there's also a clip that Dreamers Pro didn't put this in either of his lives, but I've heard clips from his podcast where Chad Ochocinco Johnson, his co-host, asked him, yo, would you date this black, successful black woman? She's like 40, she's like religious and yada, yada, yada. Pretty well off, right? Shannon said, no, I don't want to date my age. I don't want to date my age. I want to date my wage. You feel me? So you have those things going on. And I told my dad this, and I told my mom this too. When you're saying stuff like that on your podcast, you are really not helping your case when you're doing that type of stuff. when whether these allegations are true or not, and it's looking more and more like it is, when you say something like that on your Nightcap podcast, it's not helping your case at all, bro. And then after that Instagram live where he was, doing it with a lady, I don't know exactly who that lady was. He apologized for it, and then he made like shirts, like I don't know, did this weird promotion with like those little balloons. I'm not gonna say the word. Y'all know what I'm talking about. You put it on your manual to, protect yourself during that. I'm gonna call it balloon. That balloon. He was doing that, right? So I don't know. And I was thinking the same thing as Dreamers Pro, and we were both like thinking, even though I don't talk to Dreamers Pro, I've seen his channel. We were both like, what the hell is going on, bro? Like, come on, dog. And then now we have this new case from the U.S. Sun. Now I'm going to get into it, where this woman named Jimelita Tillman sued Shannon for $20 million after him and Ocho on Nightcap shamed the woman over a viral flirty video with Usher and wrongly alleged that her husband left her over the incident, right? So let me read this article to y'all. This is from the U.S. Sun. Miss Tillman claims the host knowingly propagated a false narrative about her martial status in court papers. Shannon just settled a $50 million lawsuit with a woman that accused him of rap. Obviously, we just talked about that. In Miss Tillman's complaint, she explained on April 2nd of 2025, I participated in a fan engagement moment at an Usher Raymond concert where I interacted with the artist as a selected audience member. That interaction quickly went viral after fans noticed the intensity between Tillman and Usher in that moment. Okay, let me pause it right there. Why do you care? Why do you care about what this woman has with Usher? They were probably just talking and all those. I don't know, man. Whatever. Following this event, the defendants made and disseminated, not decimated. My apologies, y'all. Disseminated false and defamatory statements suggesting that I was married and that my husband was filing for divorce due to my participation in this audience experience. I am not married, nor I am currently going through a divorce. I was not married at the time of the fan participation moment during the Usher concert. The defendants' false narratives were shared widely across their platforms, reaching millions of followers. Keep that in mind, y'all, because I'm going to get to that part. Viral spread and refutation efforts, despite my clear and public reputation of the false narrative. For some context, this woman, Jimelita Tillman, is a global director for the Harold Washington Cultural Center, and she even went on national media shows to refute the allegations that Shannon posed onto her, or that Shannon proposed out there. That's what I meant to say. So, and then finally, and this will be probably the last part I'll read from the article, I have made numerous efforts to contact the defendants to request the removal of this false narrative, but these requests were disregarded. The single mother added that the false statements have caused significant harm to my character and reputation. So there you have it. And then obviously the Gilbert Arenas one. Gilbert Arenas, I'm not going to talk too much about it because I want to keep the focus on Shannon Sharpe and get into like my own personal thoughts about this video because we're 8 minutes in. Gilbert Arenas was arrested for illegal gambling in a mansion in Encino, California. He was pretty much hosting an illegal gambling site, and that house was actually raided. There's a post from CNN, or not post, an article from CNN that said something very interesting, that house was raided. That same house was raided in July of 2022. So I was telling my mom and dad this. He was either at a place he should not have been at the very worst time, or he's been doing this for a good while now, and we were all reaching for the latter. You know what I'm saying? But that's another bozo activity right there, bro. That is bozo activity in and of itself. But let me give my own personal thoughts about the Shannon Sharpe situation. And no, I am a black dude myself. Albeit I am mixed, I am black. So I am not trying to tear down, I don't want to hear anyone saying, black man tear down black man, because people have been like proposing this narrative when it's just like we all want to do better. Us in the black community, are trying to do better for our people and be role models. Okay? Let's not get that twisted, bro. And the people that are saying unk this, unk that, here's the problem with that. Where are you guys now? Now that he's been fired from ESPN. Free unk, he ain't do nothing. Then why did he settle? And I think he even said something that he's gonna try to fight this case tooth and nail. He even called this a shakedown. Why did he settle, bro? For $50 million. And the saddest part is this dude was about to be a global icon in sports casting for years to come, and he had an $100 million contract lined up waiting for him, plus sponsors, plus ad revenues, and all that other stuff, man. Why did he chicken out and pay her at the very last moment? Answer that for me. And this is coming from someone that used to be a fan of Shannon Sharpe. I loved what he did on Undisputed. I loved those one-liners. I loved every single last bit of what he did with Skip on Undisputed. And I didn't make a video about this, but I was actually defended Shannon when Skip took shots at his NFL career, right? When they were talking about Tom Brady in a segment. But now, this is just bad, man. Shannon, you are a black man. And you are exerting what people call YN behavior as a 57-year-old black male. And there's actually a video I watched where this dude was talking about old YNs in hip-hop. The same can be applied to this guy right here, bro. He's acting like an old YN for the young boys. Oh, Shannon lit. He a cool unk. And yada, yada, yada. And it's just like, the moment I saw him on First Take, he was cool. He was still his undisputed self for the first, year, I guess. But as soon as the second year rolled around with Shannon on First Take, everyone started to notice that he became a lot more cocky. He felt like he was untouchable. Right, and it doesn't help that he's been around Stephen A. Smith a lot, and Stephen A. himself is under controversy himself because of the files with our current president. That our current president is in right now. I'm not gonna get too much into that, okay? And he was on Chris Cuomo's show saying, "Oh, this is what y'all mad about, and not the other bad stuff that this president has done," and it made him sound very condescending and conniving. But enough about that. I don't want to get into that. It's just the fact with Shannon, bro. They call you Unk, right? You have millions of viewers that listen to you, that even look up to you. And this is how you go about your business. Don't you think because they call you Unk and all this other stuff, don't you feel like you have to be a better example for these young cats out here? Don't you feel like you need to be a better example instead of just running amok with some OnlyFans girls? What? This blows my mind, man, because Shannon at one point, I thought he was going to be up there when it comes to black excellence historically. Obviously, we've seen like historic figures in the past and even in the present with guys like Kendrick Lamar being a black artist that won a Pulitzer Prize, which hasn't been done before. Kendrick made history and surpassing Michael Jackson at the Grammys and all that other stuff, right? LeBron doing the stuff, LeBron and his philanthropy, Chris Paul and what he's done. Shannon was about to be up there with those dudes, Barack Obama being the first black president. And Shannon goes out and does this. And Dreamers Pro called it ratchet behavior. I don't get this, bro. Like, oh my gosh. You are a successful black man in the industry. And Dreamers Pro pointed this out. Of all the beautiful women, this is who you go for? And then you go out and brag about it. You brag about, sleeping with these women online, talking about body counts like you're some damn 16, 17, 18, 19-year-old frat boy. I don't get it. And it's just, That's why people call it YN behavior, because that's what you see YNs do. They do this type of stuff. Not a damn near 60-year-old. Oh my goodness. This is just frustrating to talk about because my mind's all over the place because I'm really trying to get my thoughts straight. And let me be honest, this is only the beginning. This is only the beginning. Because now with these two cases, or these two lawsuits, I should say, it's only going to get worse. That man, he fumbled a major bag, bro. Someone, I think it was in one of Dreamers Pro's lives, they call him Shannon Schroeder. They called him Shannon Schroeder because remember, when the Lakers offered him an $84 million contract, Schroeder said, "Hell no, I'm gonna try to chase a bigger bag." He actually tried to do what Tobias Harris did when he got a similar offer to the Clippers, and then he got traded to Philly, and Philly offered him that max extension. But no, seriously, this is just like you fumbled a bag this badly, and now your net worth might go down after this. I know, Nightcap. It's still a successful podcast and people will still tune in and all that other stuff, bro. But for me, it doesn't matter because it's just like, Shannon, you should be a man with morals. And it shows right here that you do not have morals yourself. And the fact that there has been like reports of, accusations coming from like when he worked at FS1 and CBS, it's not helping his case at all. It's just people saying, oh, they're not trying to diminish a black man. They're seeing a pattern with this guy. Do people not understand how damaging this is? And especially, the second one kind of really ticks me off too, man, because you go after a woman. First of all, why are you even involving yourself in that situation anyway? That situation between Miss Tillman and Usher had zero to do with you, brother. Zero to do with you. Zero to do with Ocho. But he inserted himself he inserted himself into that anyway. But whatever. It's all good. But you go out and make a baseless flippin' claim that, oh, she's divorced. Even if she were divorced, are you just mad that it's not you? You're starting to sound like Drake here, honestly, because and we know Drake has had, these type of controversies with women, especially, when he's like involving himself with like beef with rappers. He's always bringing up their exes. He's always bringing up, A$AP Rocky and Rihanna. He tried to do the same with LeBron and his wife. He did the same with Kendrick Lamar and his family. He's starting to sound like Drake here, but it's just like, and the fact that you don't even respect her sentiments and say, you know what, redact this narrative. And let's be honest, on ESPN, he wasn't as good on First Take as he was with Undisputed. You want to know why? Because the fact that the Lakers were talked about every day, he just went on these baseless Lakers in 5 claims, even though there was nothing in that season. Yes, we went 20-4, but we were still in a dogfight in the Western Conference. It didn't matter that we went 20-4 because all the records were bunched up together. But it's just like, oh, Lakers in 5, OKC, UFC, KFC, and he made these baseless ass claims that the Lakers were going to win it all, even though there was nothing that indicated we were going to make a deep playoff run, let alone win it all. You know what I'm saying? And now the Lakers got fizzled out in the playoffs to Ant, Rudy Gobert, and the Timberwolves. So it's just, and he was making a damn fool of himself too. Not just with the whole Lakers in 5 bull crap, but just these things. And ESPN still allowed this guy on their network. You want to know something screwed up though? ESPN is as complicit in this as well, because they allowed this to get dragged as long as it did. Right? Let's put this into some context. When Paul Pierce was at ESPN, he got fired because he had an Instagram live where he had cannabis and strippers on his IG live, you know what I'm saying? And they fired Jalen Rose. I think he was part of those layouts. I don't think he counts the laughs that they had in 2023. But let's talk about, use Paul Pierce as an example. They fired Pierce as soon as that Instagram live released. As soon as that tape released of Shannon doing it with a woman, I was so confused. How come they didn't fire him right then and there? And I got an explanation from my dad on this. He said, they were just waiting till they get all the evidence and they get all the data filed up and all that other stuff. And now that with all this stuff rising in the ranks, they chose right now as a perfect time to fire him. But he honestly should be thankful that they didn't fire him sooner, because had this be any other corporation, he would have gotten fired tenfold with stuff like that. Brothers, y'all gotta do better. Y'all gotta do better for our community, man. Because it's just like, bro, it's hard being black in America. It's hard, and it's even getting harder with the stuff going on in our current events in America right now, bruh. But it's just like, and y'all pull some stuff like this that gives our people a bad rep. It's sad, man. It is absolutely sad. And the fact that people back this behavior. People back this behavior and saying, free Unc, he ain't do nothing. Like, bro, let's live in reality here, man. Let's live in reality. This guy is a sicko. And he does not deserve to be back on national airwaves anytime soon. And again, I am someone that loved Shannon Sharpe on Undisputed. I was one of his biggest fans. I loved his one-liners. I loved what he did. And anytime when he crashed out when, the Cavs lost or all that other stuff, he made jokes about Isaiah Thomas not throwing a ball over a fire hydrant and all and those hilarious back and forths about Tom Brady and then Michael Jordan and LeBron and yada, yada, yada. Those were funny. And I loved those segments from Shannon. But now it's just like, I can't look at dude the same anymore. He is trash, bro. And I'm gonna lose some subscribers, and some of y'all might lose respect for me. But when it comes to things like this and serious allegations, this is not just some Me Too BS, right? It's terrible. I don't know how many times I have to say it in this dang vid, man, but it's just overall terrible. And I hope that this becomes a lesson to all of us. Don't ever do it with a crazy person, because it can get bad really fast. And getting sued like that, it could cost Shannon a lot of earnings, and it could cost him his career. I don't care about how successful his Nightcap podcast is. I don't care. I don't care that he has Joe Johnson on there. I don't care about any of that stuff, bro. It could go away in the blink of an eye or within a snap of Thanos' finger. That's how bad it is, man. It's just disappointing. I have really nothing else to say. But I don't know, bro. I'm going to end the video here because it's just a whole lot of bogusness, a whole lot of bull stuff, man. But I hope this serves a lesson to us that we have to do better. And for the black community, for my brothers and sisters out there, I hope we learn to do better for our people. Not getting involved ourselves in this and being a role model for, a role model for the next coming of black kids, mixed, pure, whatever. I hope we could use this as an example of what we shouldn't do, and hopefully it teaches us how to move differently and how we could be models for successful role models in society. But yeah, I just wanted to get on here, man, and just explain my raw thoughts. This is similar enough to my series recap vid, except you see gameplay in the background. But hopefully this is the last time for a while that I do a non-basketball related video, because I already have 3 of them up on the channel. I talk about the mass pew-pewing that happened in Uvalde. I talked about the Ja Morant situation and all that other stuff. But hopefully this is probably the last time y'all have to hear such a serious issue. Guys, let's move differently. And let's learn from their mistakes so we don't have to repeat it. Okay? But yeah, I just want to get on here. More fun content coming soon. More gameplay videos. More off-season videos. I'm keeping my promise. I'm going to do a video about the Warriors. That'll be my next video. But yeah, that's it. That is the end of this video. I'm X. Deuces. Let's all do better, man.